All right, well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us for our coaches call today, September 22nd. Let's go ahead and look at our agenda for the day. So, first thing, of course, is to welcome everybody. So happy to see everybody here. Uh, this is, I want to reemphasize, definitely a community. So that's kind of the whole goal for today is to share information, first kind of from us to you to let you know what's going on with the season and all coming upcoming announcements. But then the second half is where we really want to get you guys to share with each other. When we had this meeting last month, we kind of noticed that when we set up those breakout rooms, that there was a lot of great conversations going on. So that's really what we're want to see continue. So that's what we're here for, is to help continue that conversation, to be able to share information amongst each other and kind of learn how the NCL has been working for people who have been doing it for a while, and then also just to kind of give information out for people who are brand new to the NCL and can learn from those of you that have been competing for a while. So that is the idea of what we're going to do. And kind of here is my slide. So the first thing is I do want to introduce a couple people on the call. We have Franz, who is the CEO of Cyber Skyline, and Emily, who is our community engagement manager for Cyber Skyline. And for those of you who are kind of unfamiliar with we have National Cyber League and we have Cyber Skyline. Well, we partner, meaning we, National Cyber League, partner with Cyber Skyline. They are the ones that actually run the competition, in charge of taking all the payments and the heavy lifting of actually creating the competition. So, Franz, do you want to go ahead and say hello?
Hello, thanks for joining us again, everyone. It's a pleasure being here today.
Great. Emily?
Hi, everybody. Same as Franz, it's great to be with you all, and we're excited to share some really cool initiatives that we have going on at the NCL.
Great. All right. So I will have them speak again in just a moment. But just a couple things here. So first, that the note there that the coaches call and coaches committee. So last year we had, actually last season, we had coaches call and we kind of had a separate coaches committee. And we decided to merge the two. We know people have a limited amount of time, and we just want to use that time wisely. And it seemed like we definitely had some overlap between people on the coaches call and people in the coaches committee. So the idea here is to merge those two. So we kind of have the first half of this call is more like the coaches call, like I was saying, where we're gonna, give you information about the season. And then the second half of the call is more like a coaches committee, where we want you to be able to share ideas amongst each other. So the first thing is our announcement of the fall 2022 season. Franz, you want to take it away from here?
Sure. So in case there are people here joining us today who are not already aware, the fall season's already in full swing. We've got regular registration open all the way until October 6th, and late registrations open from October 7th until the 11th. As soon as your students register, they can start practicing the games. So if you have not yet got your students registered, highly encourage you to get them up and running as quickly as possible, because they're going to be missing out on practice time if they register later. So definitely go and encourage your students to get registered. We've got the practice game coming on October 10th. Individual game is the weekend before Halloween, and then the team games the weekend after Halloween. So students are going to be checking out during that Halloween weekend. We're working around it this year. And so we're excited to have all your students join us again for the season. And we've got two more bits of information just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Make sure you know how to get your students registered. The first thing is that there are going to be 3 different ways that you can get your students registered. First way is if they need to pay for themselves, they just go to the registration page. There's a button they can click student registration, fill in their information, buy a code, and get registered that way. Second way is if you have a credit card that you're authorized to use, when you complete the free coach registration, there will be an option for you to buy registration for your students. And even if you skip that option during your normal registration process, you can go back to the page and it'll give you the option to do that as long as registration is open. The third way is if your student's not buying it, or if you don't have a credit card, if you need to go through one of your finance departments, you need to get a purchase order, maybe you need to send a check, you can go to the registration page. If you scroll down on the right side, there's going to be a button that says bulk registration. And then it'll take you to a form that you can fill out. You just put in your information, you put in the information for your finance department, and we'll send an invoice, send some vendor onboarding forms. And as soon as we get authorization that your school has authorized the purchase, we can send you the codes. So you don't have to wait until we actually get the payment. If that takes a little bit of time, we just need to make sure that the finance department says, yep, we're going to pay for this, and we'll issue you the codes and you're all good to go. And then the last thing I want to cover as it relates to registration, if you want to be able to view your students' performance, there are two ways to do this. One way, if you're buying codes for your students, we are automatically pairing them with you in the system. So we put your information in those codes so that anyone who redeems those codes is marked as your student. Now, if your students are buying their own codes, you need them to confirm you as their coach. This is a privacy thing. We want to make sure that no one can just randomly say, hey, you're my student, and be able to see their performance. So your students actually need to actively confirm you as their coach if they are buying their own codes. And luckily, there's a simple way to do this. If you go to the registration page, once you've registered, in the side menu, there will be an option there for you to get the instructions to add your students. And you just literally copy those instructions, email them out to your students. Basically, it's a link they'll click. It says, hey, do you want to confirm so-and-so as your coach? And they hit yes, and then bam, they're on there. So when you go to your coach dashboard and you say, hey, my student's not there, why are they not there? That could be for two reasons. One is if they have not registered, they're not going to show up there. And if they have not confirmed you as their coach, they also will not show up there. So if you see that their student's missing, it's going to be one of those two reasons. And just make sure you give those instructions, right? Register as a student, and then use the code here to confirm me as their coach. And that should be it. And hopefully that should clear up any confusion there. If you are at a school and you have multiple coaches for the same groups of students, you can open a support ticket and give us authorization to add additional coaches to your group, to your class, and we can go and do that. So there's no way to automatically do that. Again, it's a privacy thing. Just open a support ticket. We're more than happy to add additional coaches to view your students.
Great. And let's just take a moment to pause here to see if there's any questions about all the material Franz just went over. It was quite a bit. Definitely very important things, right? How to get students registered, and then also how to kind of, see how your students are performing. So I do see a couple questions coming in. Is there a way to remove students from a coach's observation list if the student has graduated or transferred to another institution?
Yes, that is through a support ticket. So either the student or the coach can let us know, and we can remove that. Pairing.
The next question is, what is the cost? And the answer is $35. It has been for a while, and we're hoping to keep that cost the same for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, even with all the inflation, we know that it's actually, because of the inflation, it's very challenging for students to have, financial assistance is very much needed for some students. So we're trying to keep the price low. Everything else is going up. We're trying to keep the price low because we know how important NCL is to so many students' education.
Absolutely. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in right now, but if you do have some, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will either answer them here live or give you a response back in chat. So next up, Emily, would you like to talk about the newsletter?
Absolutely. The next few slides are really just going to share some exciting initiatives and program components that we have for the NCL. And one of them is our new NCL Newsletter. So it's going to be published in October. So we're just a few short weeks away. And we're going to be sharing helpful information. We're going to have updates, program announcements, community spotlights. We want to definitely share cyber community initiatives, as well as helpful resources. And this is really meant for all the participants of our NCL community. So that's going to include student players, coaches, alumni, partners. We really want to have an avenue to share information that we find is really helpful, but also to keep you in the know of what we got going on for NCL. We also are going to have a continuous call for submissions. So if you have maybe a published article or a presentation that you'd like to share with the community, we'd love to hear from you. So be on the lookout for that. And hopefully you have also received the Summer of NCL, what we called our summer teaser, that lets you know kind of what we did staff-wise and internally over the summer to get prepared for the season. You can move me on over. We're going to talk about the mentorship program. So as you can see here, CrowdStrike is really one of our major players when it comes to our mentoring program. We have our NCL and CrowdStrike partnership for our mentorship program that's going to be continuing for fall 2022. Our cohort is underway as we speak, and the programming is going to begin in October. The program is intended to provide advice and guidance to a diverse group of students and really have them have a real life experience with one-to-one connections with CrowdStrike employees. You can see here, there's some really fantastic benefits that we're excited to offer our mentees. There are going to be 4 mentorship sessions that are going to be scheduled once per month, October, November, January, and February. And each mentee is going to receive a $250 scholarship, which is awarded upon completion of the program. And of course, they're going to have some really amazing networking opportunities with their mentors, as well as an opportunity to apply for a CrowdStrike internship or entry-level job. And certainly it's going to look really wonderful on their resume as being a part of the CrowdStrike NCL mentorship program. We're excited to find other organizations and companies that are interested in mentoring. So if you have maybe a connection in mind and you think it would be a fantastic way to have our student players connected with one-to-one mentorship, let us know. We'd love to hear from you and be able to expand this programming and scale to be able to get students really connected with those that could help them in their entry-level careers. The next slide, we're going to talk about the HBCU scholarship opportunity. This is something that we have been really excited to be able to share the last few seasons. The deadline is on October 10th, so your students certainly have time to apply for this. And really, it's a collaboration with our HBCU campuses in order to create a really easy pathway, take out the obstacles to have students from HBCU communities be able to participate in the NCL competition with free registration. You can find information very easily on our nationalcyberleague.org website. There's a big button on the homepage that says HBCU Scholarship. And once again, the deadline to apply is October 10th. And the application is very straightforward, very easy for your students to navigate. And we definitely encourage that if you are part of an HBCU community, that you please share this with the students. And we would love to be able to give them free registrations for this season.
Great.
And
Let's really quickly, for those of you who are joining us late, we are recording this meeting. So if you did miss anything at all that's coming in, we will have this meeting recorded and also give you out some notes. So go ahead. Sorry, Emily.
Terrific. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And lastly, I'd like to share about our One in Tech scholarships. So this is going to be an initiative that we are continuing from spring 2022. The partnership is allowing scholarships to support and promote diversity within the cybersecurity industry. We are going to be awarding 10 students a $5,000 stipend that's going to allow them to put that towards their academic tuition. which is a huge help. And we're noticing that we really are taking off with this particular initiative. You're going to notice here the deadline is October 24th. So there's certainly about a month left for your students to apply. This is open for students who are attending an MSI, HBCU, or a community college. They can be first generation to attend an accredited college, and we want them to identify within a demographic that is historically underrepresented within the tech profession. Underrepresentation may include aspects of race, culture, ethnicity, gender, and other factors that have resulted in exclusion. We are trying to make it as open as possible for interpretation of what diversity means for our players. And it's a fantastic way for them to be able to be a part of the One in Tech community, as well, of course, the NCL community. And by offering a financial stipend, we know that we really are helping the students that certainly could use that financial assistance, as well as giving them access to different ISACA components, such as student memberships, student courses, mentorship, etc. So we're really excited about these initiatives, and we hope that you can get the word out to your students. And we are here absolutely to support you if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out to anybody on the NCL team, and we'll be happy to connect you with the correct applications or links, or if you just have any questions in particular. So that's it for me. Thank you for hearing about our new and awesome initiatives and programming. And if you have any ideas or ways that you'd like to collaborate with us at the NCL, let us know. We are always open for ideas and partnership opportunities, and we truly want to create a sense of community. And by doing that, it's where we're working together. So thank you for your time, everybody.
And Emily, there's a quick question that came up about how do you apply for the CrowdStrike mentoring? So I brought that slide back up again. Maybe.
Sure. So right now for the CrowdStrike mentoring program, the cohort is already off and running. So we are no longer accepting applications for the mentees for this particular mentorship program. We do have some prospective companies on the horizon that may be kicking off their own mentorship program. And when we do, we will go ahead and make sure that we publish it and have it promoted through our email channels. But for right now, the CrowdStrike mentorship program is already kicking off for this particular season, but we will be sharing other opportunities as they come about.
Great, thank you. So for those of you who are joining late, I apologize if you were in a different Zoom meeting. It sounds like maybe you were in the Zoom meeting from last month. Hopefully, it looks like some people have gotten the new link, which is good. So apologize for that miscommunication. But welcome. If you're joining us now, we did record this meeting. And you are joining us right now kind of in the active phase of the meeting, where we will be having you guys go into breakout rooms and discussing different things about NCL. So you're still have plenty of meeting time left. So a couple things though before I do put us in the breakout rooms. What I wanted to do is just follow up on our meeting from last month, where we talked about the experienced players, and follow up on that. So hopefully everybody saw the email that went out. So based upon the decision made by you, the coaches committee, which was kind of pretty overwhelmingly that you thought that experienced players should be on should not be on the main leaderboard. That was brought to the NCL committee, and they basically, went with that idea, which is, yeah, maybe we should not have experienced players on the main leaderboard. So what we did was, based upon the recommendation, we removed experienced players from the leaderboard. And with that, we're also looking into the possibility of creating an experienced players leaderboard for next season. We didn't jump on doing that right away because we wanted to see kind of the level of interest from experienced players to see how many we had. And if we do have enough, then that would make it a more meaningful leaderboard. And again, just to let you know the details behind that, if there are any players that have 5 or more years of experience, professional experience, in the cybersecurity industry, then that would count as an experienced player. We do have a couple caveats there in terms of, like, if their cybersecurity and they were not in a technical role. So anything outside of the technical role would not count towards experienced player. Um, so that was something that we took coaches committee advice from and immediately implemented. So that is in effect this season. Um, Another thing about research papers, I did announce that we will be running a competition for research papers related to NCL. And that was definitely a very early announcement because we will be giving you more details about that at the beginning of the next season. That doesn't mean that you can't start thinking about research related to NCL, but the actual research competition piece will start early next year, so in January. With all that said, we have a couple polls that we wanted to send out to just kind of get some feedback from everybody. So give me 1 second and I will launch the poll. So if you could take a few moments, I have 3 questions that should have just been pushed out through the Zoom poll, and we'd just like to get some feedback on that. So I'll just take a couple minutes for you guys to take that poll. And as you do that, just wanted to point out that Franz did in the chat let you know that if you are interested in writing a paper about your experience with NCL, please do reach out to us right now at ncl@cyberskyline.com. And like I said, we'll actually have more details about the actual competition later on, more like beginning of next year. Great. Glad to see there is some interest. Appreciate that. So we're at about 67% for that poll. 68%. All right, good. We're at about 3/4 of the poll. So as that finishes off, kind of one of the main activities that I wanted to get out of today's call is for you guys to share information with each other and kind of at the same time share information with us. So the idea here is I'm going to open some breakout rooms, and I'm going to have you choose a breakout room basically based upon how your players compete in terms of what type of group are they in. So specifically what we're looking for is if you have your team as part, your students as part of the class, or if they are taking part in the NCL as part of a club. And then we further subdivide that based upon high school and college. So I'll put that those breakout rooms up in a moment, and I have them labeled, but I just wanted to give you a little background information of what we're doing. So what you're going to be discussing in your breakout rooms is how do you support and train your players to compete in the NCL. So that's the overall topic. What I will have for you for each of the breakout rooms is a Google Doc. And on that Google Doc, there are several questions for you guys to answer as a group. One thing that we would like to have is a room leader. So once everybody does get into the room that is appropriate for them, if you could just do a quick discussion and find out who would like to be that room leader. And I think Emily, I think we have a little gift for our room leaders. Is that correct?
We do. We have a little incentive. We have a Starbucks gift card that we'd love to give our room leaders. So who doesn't want free coffee? So if you step up and you lead the room discussion, we'll be happy to send you after the meeting a virtual gift card so you can get your coffee right away.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, so like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the 4 rooms. And what you will see once again are the 4 rooms designated as if your students, your NCL students, participate in the NCL as part of a high school class, please jump into that breakout room. If they're part of a college class, jump into that room. If they're part of a high school club, go into that room. And if they're part of a college club, go into that room. And if you're not sure, pick a room. There should be a lively discussion. This is what we're hoping for in each of these breakout rooms. And again, this is just to share information amongst each other about how the NCL is working for you and your students. So everyone should see. Yeah, if you do both, I don't know, we'll do a coin toss. See which one works best for you. Maybe which one you have most students in. Maybe that's probably a good way to decide which breakout room to go into. So again, jump into breakout room. Once you get into that breakout room, I will go through and give you a link to the Google Doc for which will kind of have another more guided questions for you to answer. So now's the time. Jump into a breakout room.